Hey everyone, this is Rockie Ventura. I hope everybody's doing pretty good today. Hey, I wanted to go live today. It's actually my first live video on YouTube, and just wanted to give you a sample of some stuff I've been going over. Many of you know I'm in the John Maxwell team, and one of the next curriculums that I'll be doing pretty soon is one on developing the leader within you. And in this curriculum, we learn how to become a leader. And so I just wanted to give you a sample, of this little taste of what this training would be about. So I got a question for you. What would change if your life, what would change in your life if you developed as a leader? I'll give you some time to think about that. What would change in your life if you developed as a leader? All right, here's another question for you. What effectiveness could you add if you improved as a leader? This could be in your job, it could be at home with your children, church you go to, place you may volunteer at. So what effectiveness could you add if you improved as a leader? All right, here's another question for you. What weaknesses could you subtract if you improved as a leader? What weaknesses could you subtract if you improved as a leader? Okay. How could you divide your workload? That's a good one, right? How could you divide your workload if you improved as a leader? How could it help you to divide the workload you have you? And then how could you multiply your impact? If you improved as a leader, how could you multiply your impact? All right, well, I want to go over some of these questions here, and let's see if we can get our brains thinking about what leadership is and how it could impact us. So, the first question: what could change in your life if you developed as a leader? And that was the broad question, and then the question underneath it was a chance to get you to think in areas that you could improve in. So, here, the first one we said: what effectiveness could you add? What effectiveness could you add? So I'm going to use my own stories here and kind of talk about areas that how leadership helped me. Where do I begin? So I guess the short version is, um, I've always been scared of the like leadership roles. I think, when you think of a leader, I know in the when I first started learning about leadership, for me, leadership was more a position, and I didn't learn till later on that it wasn't a position. And as we'll learn, leadership is influence. It's the way people are drawn to you. So when you're leading someone, it's because you're influencing them to do that. All right, and we'll learn through this program how do you go about influencing people. But for now, if you buy into that leadership is influence, and things can happen to you if you improved your leadership style. So areas that started improving in my life was when I started to learn to lead myself. I think you'll find a lot of quotes, and most people who talk about leadership will often say that the hardest person to lead is yourself. And I think that's true. It definitely was true for me. I mean, if you don't believe that, then try getting up in the morning and go working out if that's not part of your daily routine, and see how well that goes for you, right? I mean, the discipline it takes to say, all right, body, get up and do what I say, right? You talk about leadership, you really, really have to have the ability to influence yourself. And so think about all the things that you may fail in influencing yourself, even though you want it, right? Like I'm sure you might be saying, "Well, I want more money." Well, what does it take? You probably got to get a degree, or you got to go and better yourself so that you can get that next position. You might say, "I want better relationship." Like maybe you're in a relationship, but it's not working right, and things are failing, and you know that maybe going to that counseling or improving in communication would help, but you fail to lead yourself. in that regard to do those things because it takes time, doesn't it? It takes time and it takes discipline. And so leading yourself first is one of the hardest obstacles to overcome. And so I want to encourage you out there, if you're out there, start figuring out ways that you can lead yourself. Okay, so I'm pulling up this next question here, and this next question was, so what effectiveness could you have if you improve as a leader? Well, there's a lot of effectiveness, isn't it? I mean, when you start improving as a leader, think about all the people you can impact. I mean, we talked about yourself, right? Like the benefit that you can when you improve yourself. But what about now your friends? When you improve as a leader, all of a sudden people want to follow you. Your children, think about the impact that you have. If you just start developing yourself as a leader, think about the impact that you can have on your children because they learn from you, right? I mean, how much of the stuff that you learn from your parents that you do now, right? I mean, chances are you probably learned a lot from your parents, good or bad. And because you didn't grow another way or learn another way, you ended up doing what you said you weren't going to do when you were younger, right? If you have children. And so if you don't have children yet, I'm interested to see, if that plays out for you. When you become a parent, will you fall into the same patterns of your parents? The same, you remember when you were a kid and the parents told you to do this and you say, but why? And then you say, because I told you so, right? And then you're like, as a kid, you hated that response. And then all of a sudden you become a parent. What do? You go and give that same response. It's just we just tend to do what's of habit, what's of kind of in our nature to do, which is take the path of least resistance. And that is, once we get out of high school, we're not growing anymore, are we? In high school, they're forcing you. In school, they're forcing you to grow and take this test, go to this class. But once you finish high school, now you're kind of not in that role anymore, and so you stop growing. So let me pull up the next question here. Yeah, who could you impact if you developed a leader style in you? Who could you impact? You can impact a lot of people, can't you? All right, so we're gonna move now into the definition of influence, and the definition of influence. I messed that up. We're gonna move into now the definition of leadership, and the definition of leadership, according to John Maxwell, is influence. All right, and I like his definition. I really, really do. He says that influence is leadership, and leadership is influence, and they're one and the same. So when you're leading someone, it's because you're influencing them, and if you're influencing them, well, you're leading them, right? And so I just want to put it out there, the difference between a leader is a leader can be good and a leader can be bad, right? We look at a person like Hitler in history. Did he lead people? Yes, he did, right? He led people. Now, was it the way he led them? Was it moral and ethical and legal? No, right? So you can understand that influence and leadership is just the science of something, right? Like the action of being able to move someone to do something. And so you start thinking about that definition, like leadership is influence, influence is leadership, like the power that you could have if you develop that skill. Now, as I teach it, I want to encourage you to use it for good, okay? Because it's easy to gain these skill sets and use them for a bad thing, just to manipulate people and get your way. And that's not what I'm trying to teach in this video. In fact, this is just an introduction, and we're not going to get into the meat and potatoes until later. But for the purposes of this video, I just want you to know that leadership and influence are one and the same, and it can impact you. You can have the potential to do so much as you start learning these leadership concepts. So here's what I want to encourage you as we begin to close this first video on just the introduction of leadership. Is I want you to see that if you take the time to develop yourself as a leader, take the time to grow yourself, take the time to read the books, watch the videos, study leaders that you like and don't like, even at work, right? Maybe at work or in an office somewhere, organization you're a part of, maybe somewhere you volunteer, you probably are looking around and just observe people, see how they lead, see how they follow you, see are you how what makes them makes people follow that person. See, just grow a curious mindset for them, like, wow, what is it about them that they're able to influence this person or that person? And then start getting interested in seeing, like, I wonder how they're going to handle that person, right? I wonder how they're going to handle that person. When I used to work in the hospitality, there was just something about me. I just used to love working at the front desk when I was a hotel front office person. And I just lived for the hard cases. Call me crazy, I don't know, but anytime the someone would come to the front desk and they would just come in a real mad attitude. Hey, I remember. Okay, get this. So I remember one time a customer showed up and we had no more rooms. And this customer is about 12, almost midnight. No more rooms. Imagine you being that person. This person's already having a bad day. They lost their luggage. And imagine you having to tell that person, sorry, we don't have a hotel room for you today. Well, that was me. I had to do that. But for some reason, I just loved those opportunities to do that. Like, I just liked growing in those opportunities. And so, but what I liked about it is just I really am a student of people and psychology, and I just love to see, like, what makes that person tick. And that's what I'm asking you to do as you learn to grow to be a leader. I'm also asking you to learn to grow to be an observer of people. Study them and ask, what makes them tick? Why are they angry? How what would make them happy? And then what are they going to stay angry? And if so, what would keep them angry? And just all these questions. Now you're curious, right? When someone says something you don't agree with, it's just kind of nod your head there and say, like, isn't that interesting? Rather than take offense, because sometimes we just get so angry so fast. Like, what? Why'd you say that? You're assuming this. No, just say, isn't that interesting? When someone tries to say something to get you irritated or mad, just, isn't that interesting? Because it is interesting, like, to think, like, why would someone say that? And really get under the psychology of someone. And I believe that in order to influence people, you have to know people. You have to take the time to understand them. And in another teaching lesson I do, called "Everyone Communicates, Few Connect," that's based on John Maxwell's book. He teaches you the fundamentals of that. And in this leadership program, you're going to learn that if you want to influence, then you have to learn to communicate better with people. And it starts with putting their needs first. It doesn't start from your needs. The desire to want to be right has to go out the window. All right. When you're dealing with people, your desire to be right, it gets thrown out the window. All right, others come first. You start to develop a servant's heart, and all of a sudden it's about them, and that is so attractive to people. Don't believe me? Go try it. All right, tomorrow or wherever you may be, go get that first person and make it about them. All right, let them start talking, and then say, and what else? And start showing a genuine interest in them, and ask them questions and look at them in the eye, and just be intrigued, be in awe by them. And I'll tell you, by the end of that conversation, they're gonna be like, it was really nice talking with you. I had a really good time. And in your mind, you're like, I didn't even say anything. But see, this is it though. This is like kind of like that attraction. People are attracted to who's attracted to them. And I don't know if that's a law or something, but it just is, to go out and do it. I'm telling you, go out. If you want to win influence, that's one of the first things that you can do, is just be genuinely interested in what they have to say, and just let them, even if they're saying sentences wrong or they're incorrect, don't be that person that says correct them and try to, that's not interesting. That's just annoying. Right? And I do that sometimes. I try to catch myself, stop being that annoying person. I try to be a person of attraction, someone who people can be attracted to, because I'm genuinely interested in other people. So that's what I'm asking you to do. That's what I'm asking you, as we study leadership, be attracted to people, and gain an attraction of people from just by having a servant's heart, and listening to what they got to say and offer. Treat people with value, as my mentor John Maxwell will say. Everybody, God created everyone, right? And everyone is worth something. And I remember a story about crumbling up a $20 bill. You can crumble up a $20 bill, and even though on the appearance it might look all, messy and torn and worn, it's the value is still there, isn't it? It's still a $20 bill. And if you took it to a gas station or someone, they're gonna take your money because it has a $20 bill value on it. So just remember that as you come across people and you start making these preconceptions of them, like, oh, look at them, they're mean, or they're this or they're that. I could have thought that of the hotel person of the story I was telling you about, but I didn't. I saw them as a person of value. I saw that they were tired. They got there late, that their hotel room was gone, and I made the decisions that at the time the business I worked for empowered me to make, and I was able to fix the situation for that customer, and that customer left, as happy as it could be for the situation. And so I was pleased. I was pleased that I didn't go along with that person's anger and stuff, and then we would have both been. But I was able to influence the situation to a favorable outcome just by listening to what the customer had to say. So, hey, influence, I'm telling you, if you take the time to develop your leadership, there's so much that can be gained from that. And so I want to encourage you in this video, in developing the leader within you series, and in developing your influence. Hey, take that time, study people, okay? Be a student of people and study them. It's a lot of value. But all right, hey, that's all I got. I want to wish you the best. Thanks for tuning in with me. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I hope you stick with me in these next videos. It's going to be really good. Take care. All right, bye.